my friends. Welcome back to Spiritual Freak Show. I am your host, Grace Lannon. I'm a psychic medium and an energy healer. Today, I'm coming to you from my car, and I hope you can hear the sounds of the rain falling in the background. I just took a shower. I'm about to get a massage, and I had some time, so I thought, why don't I come and talk about mediumship for a little while? I wanted to bring you guys another series, another installment in our series. So, you want to be a medium? We put out two episodes so far in this series. Today, I want to talk a little bit about beginning your practice by creating an altar space, and we'll go into some other stuff too. But if you've never listened to the podcast, thank you for being here. My name is Grace Lannon. I'm a psychic medium and energy healer. As I mentioned, each week on this podcast, we share about different mystical, magical things, sometimes with guests. We also have an ongoing series talking about the tarot with Melody, who is my co host for that series. So you can find those on our bonus episodes. And if you're listening to this in real time, today is February 13th. And then we're doing a Valentine's Day sale. So if you want to receive a one-on-one healing session with me, Reiki healing sessions, we're doing a sale on Reiki energy healing. I have a 30-minute option now, which is exciting. I added some new services to my website, so you guys can check all that out at gracelanded.com. No promo before we start. But if you guys are looking to work with me, just know that right now we have a sale going through the 22nd of February, and that is 20% off with the code SELF-LOVE when you check out, and you'll get 20% off a 30-minute session, an hour, or a 90-minute session. 90-minute Reiki sessions include a short psychic reading. So, very exciting. So, when you want to begin your practice of mediumship, I think it can be very overwhelming, as we've talked about, because there's so many different things to consider, and everyone processes psychic, mediumship, spiritual information differently. And it's extremely hard to differentiate between like our regular human thoughts and spiritual messages. The other day, for example, I went to go get my nails done. I'm trying to be a nail girly now. So if you're watching on YouTube, you can see I got a little cheeky red French tip. But I went to go get my nails done the other day, and I had this message in my head, like when I was getting my nails done, you're gonna have to go get your wallet. You're gonna have to go get your wallet. And I knew I had my wallet with me because before I got out of my car, I was counting cash because I wanted to make sure I had a cash tip because I prefer to tip in cash. So I know I had the money with me. But so I was just like, I'm just tripping. I'm thinking about like anxiety scenarios. Like there's no reason for me to think about this. Just as I'm sitting there getting my nails done, I'm like, I'm gonna have to go get my wallet. I'm gonna have to go get my wallet. But it was this message, like, and the voice in my head, of course, it's my own voice, but it sounded more authoritative of like someone telling me something. That's kind of how it felt to me. Of you are going to have to get your wallet. You're gonna have to go out and get your wallet. And again, I'm just like, I'm having anxiety. I'm having anxiety because I can't be holding my phone in this 20 seconds, 20 minutes where I'm getting my nails done and I'm like having my little dopamine freak out, my ADHD, where I get bored. So that's what I was feeling like. I'm just making this stuff up in my head. But underneath that, I'm making this stuff up in my head feeling, I was feeling in my gut. So the sensation of the thought in my brain, but I'm also feeling a sensation in my physical body. When we do mediumship or any kind of spiritual work, whether that's just meditation or something more advanced, um, meditation is extremely advanced, but that's another story. Um, it's really about differentiating. I'm getting a text, so let's turn that down. It's really about differentiating the sensations that are happening in your body and examining how emotions are processed through your body, where you begin to notice a difference. So that's like the hardest part, to be the observer within yourself, it's not easy. I am a very sensitive person, so I've always noticed these kinds of differences in my body. Um, when I have a different feeling than I usually do. But I know not everyone even knows what that feels like. So side note, back to the scenario. I was getting my nails done. So I'm thinking, you're just making this up, Grace. Then I had this feeling in my stomach that felt like, oh no, this is just like a precognition. Like this is something that I'm gonna have to do. Like this is a psychic thought. So I feel it in my mind, I'm processing it in my mind, but I'm also experiencing in my body the gut, quote unquote, if you're listening to audio, I'm doing quotations, gut feeling that I know to be true. So then I get done with my nails and I'm like going through my hip pockets and my purse and I'm like, I literally had my wallet. What the fuck? And I had that sinking feeling. I'm like, oh, it's in my car. So it was not a big deal. I just had to walk out to my car and get the wallet, but it gave me a understanding of what it feels like to have a thought of my own versus a thought that is more of a intuitive feeling of like this is going to happen next, a psychic message. So psychic to me is on a different timeline than mediumship or a different frequency. A lot of mediums or healers or psychics will think of this as different radio stations. That's kind of like an outdated metaphor because we don't really no one listens on radio anymore. But for younger generations, it's like different, yeah, like stations on Spotify or something like that. But we're tuning into these different frequencies. Psychic to me, when I perceive it, is almost in a line where it's going in time. So when I feel a psychic feeling, it's often something that's happening right in the future. The hardest thing for blooming new psychics, and even me who's been doing this for a little while now, like doing readings and stuff, um, is understanding where that message falls on the timeline. You don't really need to, because that again is like the over guessing and the over like obsessing of when is something going to happen. But to be an accurate psychic, which no one's going to be 100% accurate because we're human, everyone makes mistakes, but we need to be able to decipher where it is on the timeline. So when I had that gut feeling, that was an immediate message. That was something that was going to happen right then. But oftentimes, when we do a reading and we're really trying to bring in that psychic information rather than psychic information that has been brought to us, you see when I'm saying the differences? We're seeking the information. Sometimes it's harder to understand the timeline of when that message is going to come through. And sometimes it's years later, sometimes it's a week later, sometimes it's whenever. We don't need to always know, but we can know that it's coming. Um, but anyway, do you see the difference between a psychic message being presented to you almost as your thoughts versus doing a reading where you're seeking the information? I'm going to say it again because I feel like I'm really trying to show you guys that there is a difference. So some people, and all of us have this, every human in the world. Some people is just stronger than others, as I always say, and we can build these skills. That's why I'm doing this series in the first place, because I know some people want to gain these skills, and it's something that we're just naturally humans. We can do it, we can perceive this information. But for some people, it's louder than others. So some people, that psychic information that's presented to you is constant. Spirits bombarding you with information because you don't have boundaries or like a skill set or a way to process and understand the information to again differentiate between yourself and the spiritual energy in terms of your thoughts. I feel like if we can turn on all of our gifts, we don't want to do it all at once because that becomes overwhelming. But if we can turn all of our gifts, they can work in conjunction with each other so that we can process and understand the information that we're being given. So for me, it's like I'll feel the feeling in my body. That's clairsentience, psychic feeling. We talked about that on the last either it was the first or I think it was the last episode. So if you want to go dive deeper into clairsentience and you haven't listened to that yet, you can go. So I feel the feeling. With mediumship's a little different because you're feeling the energy of the spirit. You're feeling the energy of the spirit you're in communication with, whether that is a crossover spirit that was once human or some kind of angel entity, etc. That's getting really, really hard now. Cleanse and clear, cleanse and clear, cleanse and clear. So I'm feeling the feeling. Then I have a thought, a psychic thought. There's part of my human brain processing that information in the terms that I, Grace Landon, the psychic in this case, can understand. So this symbol means something to me. This message means something to me. Then it's going to mean something different to you. But that's why you're being delivered the message in that way, and I'm being delivered a message in this way. It might be the same message, but we process it differently. So it's happening in our thoughts, and our awareness, our consciousness, claircognizance, knowing. That is just, you know it, the thought pops in almost like people call it downloads, and I think that's a easy way for us to understand because again, we have now submerged ourselves into the technology experience, and a lot of us see everything through that lens, or can see everything through that lens because it's possible to process it a little easier because we can understand computers as a system when we are technology, we are a system too. Not in a scary AI way, but in like the God consciousness way. Everything works. The system works. There are systems, our heart pumps our blood through the body. Our lungs breathe the air, etc., 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 etc. Everything, if we are working properly, everything works the way it should be. But of course, that's not always the case with human bodies. That's I myself know this. So anyway, so we have the download. Then we have those thoughts, and sometimes it can be a voice outside of us telling us something. That's the clairaudience. So that helps us understand the information that we're being given. Then, if we can open up our clairvoyance, our psychic sight, then we can get images to understand, kind of like to back up the messages we're receiving, to understand it. Clairvoyance, we're going to talk about in a future episode more in depth, but I think that is the most advanced. Some people, it's already open, it's really, really easy for you. But if it's closed or you don't have access to it, oftentimes that can be because of fear or different other situations. And of course, there's a whole other discussion when we talk about aphantasia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but you can't visualize an image in your mind. Your brain doesn't do that. Sometimes that is a block, and sometimes that's just the way your brain is. So if you can't visualize, that doesn't mean that you can't be psychic. But if we can access these in our own way, clairvoyance can also be something outside of us. So that's where our synchronicities and our signs come into play. You see the 333 and the 222 and the angel numbers. You see like a hawk or a bird, like in a significant way. When people talk about the cardinals showing up in their yard, that's my grandfather. Like all those little things that we have, coins on the ground. Like there's so many different symbols that we love to connect to the spirit world. Speaking of, I'm in my car, and this park that I'm parked at doing this recording at, there's often these beautiful cranes, and cranes are a huge symbol for me. And that is just something that spirit has used to communicate with me over the years, is those signs and synchronicities outside of myself. That is clairvoyance too. It's not only visualizing in your mind's eye or your third eye. But anyway, this is a crane feather if you're on YouTube watching this or Spotify watching the visual or the video. This is a crane feather that I found. And then there's also some other cool ones here. This one's a hawk. But I find things like this on the ground, these perfect intact, and yeah, there's birds out here, but it's always in an unusual way. Like one time on another walk, I found literally a snake, gigantic snake skin after I had done this huge cleansing, and I was connecting with the goddess Hecate and all this like crazy stuff, and working with Isis, and like there was a lot happening with snake magic at the time in my life. I literally was on my walk. There's a bush. Someone had taken this snake skin, like someone probably found it on the walk, and someone had taken it and like propped it up as if the goddess had fucking propped it up on the bush herself for me. And I was like, what the fuck? This is for me. I have now have it in a jar. But sometimes I take the offerings, sometimes I don't, and sometimes I bring them back to the earth. So that's what I want to talk about today a little bit before we close out the episode. I want to talk about when building your relationship with mediumship. Like we said, we're opening up all the psychic senses as a precursor, a means of communication with the spirit realm. We need to open up these voices, these channels within us, a way for us to understand and process the information that spirit is communicating with us through our mediumship. So one of the ways that I find that's really helpful to begin to deepen this relationship is creating an altar space. This is a space to commune with spirit. This is a space to journal and pray, and whatever your like spiritual practices are, you can bring them to this altar space. And that is a way that we can kind of like honor the spirits so that we are building them up, so it's easier for us to communicate with them because we have a relationship with them. Just like anything else. So I'm gonna brush my hair also while we're doing this real quick because I have to go in a second. Um, but just like anything else, you're not just gonna like randomly be besties with this person. Like you have to build a relationship. So even though these spirit guides or whatever are always with you, you still need to build a relationship and deepen that relationship. It's like, someone in your family, your uncle or something like that. They're, of course, they're your uncle and like you love them, but maybe you don't know them super well, like on a personal level. It's just like that. Like these spirits, like you know them, they know you in and out. Certain spirits are way closer to us than others. Um, like, guardian angels and things like that are always present with us. But you need to, yeah, create and deepen this relationship so that you can understand why you're having this communication in spirit in the first place. So certain spirits or certain energies can help us with certain things. But mediumship, I think largely the the first door I think that we should open is communicating and connecting with our ancestors, our family line. Some of those people and some of those relationships, maybe you don't want to connect with them. I don't know everyone's relationship with their family, but your ancestors are thousands and thousands and thousands of people. So there's going to be some kind of spirit in there that is a beautiful, divine, loving spirit. I always tell people when they open up, like, create a boundary. Like, you want like spirits that are there to support you, to guide you, to love you unconditionally. Like, you don't want like some trash, like, family member who betrayed like the family to be like your spirit guide. I understand that. Or, you might have a negative relationship, but a lot of times there's also a lot of healing that can happen within connecting with our ancestors in real time in terms with our actual family. Some people are also adopted and don't know anything about their family or their ancestors, and you can still connect with them. You don't need to know these people's names. You don't need to know, you maybe in spirit you can start like learning this information, but like you don't need any of that to open up the portal to the other side of these spirits that are connected to your blood, your bones, your physical body on earth, that are there to support you. There's also healing that can happen in that because, like, you're connected. There's science to this too. Our cells with our were some of our cells were contained within the physical body of our mothers. And then those cells were also contained within the physical body of our grandmothers, back and back and back. So there are generations of cells that are contained within your body, cellular memory. So there's some scientists out there that can explain this a lot better than some psychic medium like I am. But there is healing that can happen when we heal ourselves. We also heal the generations before us and the generations after us. So sometimes when we go and connect in mediumship, they have messages for us, and maybe this was your grandmother or someone that you hung out with like every day, that you have this already established this relationship. But maybe this is someone from generations and generations ago that you're fulfilling some dreams that they had. They wanted to be able to experience some of the things that you're experiencing now. So you being yourself is also very healing for them. But to create an altar space, this is just a space for you again to connect to spirit. So this can be very intricate and ornate and like over the top, or this can just be a little counter space where you keep a journal and maybe some crystals or something, like, and a candle, and you sit there and you hang out and connect. The biggest step, I think, is creating that space because it's a opening. And not in a scary way, not like, oh my God, I'm opening a portal. Blah, blah, blah. You are, but it's not. You're creating this beautiful connection and living energy that you can honor every day. You don't need to, like, feel bad if you can't be there every day, because I know that's also a thing that people think about. But it's like, this is the space where you're going to connect. So I would encourage people to create the altar. Some things that I suggest having is, yeah, some kind of journal or pencil, paper, like things that you can write stuff down, because um when we begin these relationships with spirit, it's really important to kind of document things, because oftentimes we'll forget, and the relationship builds upon itself. So I think it's really powerful to be able to go back and reflect on, like, the things that you experienced when you first began, or things that you find really important. Um, and then, yeah, having just honoring the different elements, like, is a beautiful way to start. So creating an elemental altar and connecting to the earth is a beautiful way to start. So you're gonna have something that represents air. I'm a big feather person. This could be a candle. This could be a candle because you're the fire, that's fire and air together. So if you have a candle on there, you got the fire and the air. Then you have some kind of earth element. That could be crystals, that could be a stone from your backyard, a little piece of grass, a flower, like, but even just putting beautiful flowers from the grocery store on your altar, like, that is a way to honor the spirits. And then when you deepen and deepen this relationship, you can build upon that. There's so much to talk about with altars. This is just like a beginning little step. We can talk more about it in depth, but I would say, yeah. And then you want water. I always put like a little glass of water, or when you have your candle, you could put the candle in a little bowl of water, and that also amplifies the energy. So you're going to have those different elements there, and some kind of journal. And this is going to be a space where you can meditate. So I would just start the what I did, and this is what I suggest people to do. I started with 11 minutes a day. That was my original goal, to meditate every day. And sometimes it would be a guided meditation I put on YouTube. I have 3 bajillion guided meditations. So if you want to meditate with me, um, go to the rest of the page on YouTube or find them on Spotify. But yeah, I started with 11 minutes a day. Sometimes this was silence, sometimes this was breath work, but just starting a parameter. So that could be 5 minutes a day for you if that 11 minutes is already like too daunting. um, where you're going to open up your heart and connect with spirit, and just starting with a little prayer, whatever feels comfortable for you. But I always like to say, like, I'm open to receive like divine empowering guidance, like from my spirit guides, loved ones, angels, whatever. But there's a specific person or spirit that you're wanting to connect with, maybe someone that you know that you love that passed, like your grandmother, great grandmother, your friend, whatever. You can always like just talk to them like you would talk to them when they were here, like out loud in your mind, like they will hear you. um, but I like to create some kind of opening prayer or opening statement, so that helps me feel like, okay, this is creating, I'm calling the specific energy that I'm calling. I'm not just calling any spirit, I'm calling the spirits that are connected to me. So creating that kind of space, then just sitting there meditating. Either, again, the guided meditation can be helpful if you feel overwhelmed just sitting in silence, but with mediumship, we call it sitting in the power. That's kind of like the technique. I'll record a sitting in the power meditation for you guys and post that as a bonus episode so you can experience it. So I'll give you all that to practice with. And that is going to be the homework assignment. If you so choose to take it, you're going to create an altar space. If you want to put pictures on there of loved ones in spirit or angels or different goddesses or whatever, go ahead and do it. Um, that can get more advanced when we talk about the goddesses and the angels and the things and all that. But just go with your intuition for now. Um, and as you deepen this relationship with the spirit, they might share with you things that they want you to put on the altar. And then also, like, again, if you are wanting to connect with a specific person that you know that has passed away, like, you can always put things on the altar to honor them that you know that they love. Like maybe they loved some kind of candy. I'm hearing sees candy, so maybe someone out there, that's for you, sees candy, or like a little candy that they loved, or maybe they loved Hello Kitty, or like um I don't know, your grandma was like a big Frank Sinatra person. Like, you could put little things on there, like a Frank Sinatra cassette that you would play and listen. Like, do the things that they love to honor them. But also do the things that you love to honor your ancestors, because that helps them heal when you are in most connection with your authentic self. So that's your homework assignment. You're gonna sit in meditation. Try this until the next episode comes out. That's a week from now. Just try it. Report back if you are listening on YouTube. Share a comment with me or reach out on Instagram, angelface.grace. I'd love to hear about your experiences, or share with me pictures of your altar. Maybe you already have an altar space and you have a deep altar practice. Like, love to hear about it. Um, I don't always share pictures of my altars, um, just because that's what spirit tells me to do, but it just depends. So I could always make one for an example and share a picture of different elements so you guys can get a little deeper look. But Pinterest has so many like inspiring photos. So if you want to make yours like extra juicy and beautiful, like, and that is a ceremony in itself. In certain cultures, they make altars every single morning. And you can burn incense. Things like that is also a way to connect with the air element. So you're going to do that. I'll create the sitting in the power bonus to go with this episode, and you can utilize that, or you can just meditate in silence, or you can do breath work or yoga, even. Like, you can, do a physical practice in front of your altar as a way to honor your body. Like, there's so many different ways to create space, but I just want you to create some space within your home that is dedicated to your spiritual practice. That could be the teeniest, tiniest little corner. Maybe you like live with your family, or a bunch of people, you don't have a ton of space. Like, maybe you live in your car, like you can still create a teeny mini something. Even something where you have, a little piece of paper and you bring it out, and every time you practice, you look at it. Maybe there's some affirmations or things on there. So an altar can be made out of anything, but if you have the space to create a dedicated shelf space or on top of a bookshelf or on top of your dresser, please do this. It's sometimes not the best to do a medium altar in your bedroom because sometimes the spirits like want to hang out all the time. So just if you are doing that, just creating a firm boundary just as you would in with humans in real life, and being like, okay guys, when I'm going to bed, I'm going to bed. It's quiet time. So they're not bothering you all night. Unless you're trying to do dream work, but that's another episode. I am going to go get a beautiful massage. If you guys are, again, wanting to connect deeper with energy healing, take advantage of my sale. We will be back with another journey through the tarot episode very soon. We're going to be talking about the Magician card. And yeah, I'm so happy to be back. We're really, 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 really trying to be here every Thursday. So keep me accountable if you're a regular listener, and get on my ass if I don't. I have ADHD and I need to master this task. I got this. So see you next Thursday. Love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the spirits that came forward to help me do this reading, this podcast. I'm so used to saying doing this reading. It's like a what's that, Pavlovian response or whatever. But I don't think that's the right. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Y'all know what I mean. Bye. Subscribe. See you later.